Thanks for inviting us in at 6 o'clock. And tonight, that massive fire at the plastics recycling plant in Richmond continues to burn more than 24 hours after it started.
Thousands of residents have evacuated with growing concerns about black and toxic smoke billowing into the air. We're also learning tonight Richmond schools will be closed for a second day tomorrow while people shelter in place.
Yeah, tonight at 6, we've got live team coverage. We're breaking down all the details for you. We've got Karen Campbell tonight looking at what to expect over the next few days. And we've got Sierra Putman in studio, who's been digging into the company's past violations.
But first, we're going to kick things off with Jenny Brunovich because she's been talking with families forced to evacuate. Jenny, how's that going?
Well, yeah, Felicia, that evacuation order basically is a half-mile radius surrounding that warehouse fire. Affects all of these neighborhoods where I'm standing right now. We have been wearing masks all day, trying to kind of stay out of this area as much as we can. And that's why you can see haze filled with toxins from that fire is still covering Richmond.
More than 24 hours after a plastics recycling plant caught fire, you can still see the danger hovering over houses in Richmond. A dark cloud of toxic smoke pushed around by the wind.
They're saying it's going to be like this for days.
What you can't see, these neighbors smell burning plastic chemical fumes.
You can definitely smell it right now. It's worse than yesterday.
You can smell the plastic. It's nasty.
Despite evacuation orders, Josh Beavers chose to stay. His wife and child left along with 2,000 neighbors, most staying with friends or family, a Red Cross shelter at a church available too. This is the evacuation zone covering a half-mile radius around the warehouse. Health leaders say here especially fine particles in the air just aren't safe to breathe, can cause burning eyes, bronchitis, chest tightness, asthma.
Oh, I'm smelling some nasty stuff. It feels like almost the end of the world. Way.
Scary for Steve Cox, who lives right near the fire. It's why his pastor, checking on church members, came to help.
I'm worried about the after effects, how it's going to affect my lungs, you know, because I'm already having lung problems as it is, you know, so I'm just a little worried about that. I wasn't going to evacuate, and then it just started getting like this.
It's a real horrible, toxic smell. It's just bad. So we're going to take him to our house. We live about 2 miles out of this area, and a lot safer area.
He makes me feel pretty good. He takes care of me. He's a pretty good old boy. Because I have nowhere else to go, so he's helped me out a lot.
As for coming back home,
I don't know. Doesn't look like anytime soon. It's looking pretty rough.
his neighborhood's in limbo.
And to be clear, we have seen a lot of people who have simply chosen not to evacuate. In fact, at that Red Cross shelter, only one family, they tell me, stayed overnight. Again, most people, if they did stay away overnight, went with family or friends. But health leaders say because of that haze, which has really been swirling because of the wind in this neighborhood, it is just not safe to come home just yet. My colleague Karen Campbell is in Richmond today as well. And Karen, any word on when that evacuation order could actually be lifted?
Hey, Jenny, yeah, that remains to be known at this time. I am told that decision may, in fact, have to come from the health department here, the Wayne County Health Department. But as we've heard, you know, those at the health department say the smoke is toxic. You mentioned that, you know, wearing masks. That's why we're doing that today. And, you know, it's toxic if you breathe, if you're near it, which is why, of course, they encourage all of us to wear masks. But what I want you to do is take a close look at the building. You can see the smoke is now focused on the left side of this building. You know, firefighters have managed to make their way inside, and they started to, what appears to be starting to, you know, start to demolish that that building. Of course, they're still looking for hot spots in there. And we know that, you know, this plastic recycling warehouse, this fire, we know has been going on for more than 24 hours, and these firefighters have been here ever since. Now, we also learned that the EPA will conduct testing here every day, not just in Richmond, but around the area, looking for certain toxins and contaminants they want to test, just to make sure the area is in fact safe for people to eventually return back to their homes. We've also heard that water is going to be tested. Now, It will be a couple of days. We've also learned that fire investigators can even begin to go inside to begin determining what caused this fire. And I know we mentioned there were people inside, potentially firefighters who have made their way inside of this building checking for those hot spots. You see, of course, the building there at the top is starting to come down. But guys, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. Please be safe out there as much as you can. And tonight, 13 Investigates has been looking into the background of the business and the owner.
So last night, city leaders were saying they knew something bad could happen, and now, Sierra, you've got the documents to prove it?
And you know, today we spent the day sifting through both legal filings and state reports to get this information, and both the city and the state have had concerns about this property over the years. Now, investigators are calling this the My Way Trading warehouse fire. My Way Trading is the name of the company, but it actually goes by several different names, and that can make piecing all this together somewhat confusing. But we still know the Richmond Unsafe Building Commission actually issued an order to repair, demolish, or vacate in July 2019. The city and the owner actually fought over a push to clean up, but documents show at one point the owner said his properties were, quote, out of control. City leaders were worried about a fire back in 2019, including possible evacuations of the area, which we have seen this week. Now, in 2021, the city actually took over part of the property in hopes of getting this owner to actually clean up the site.
So you're talking about the city's concerns. What about the state's concerns about this building?
Well, in 2013, the state found hazardous materials. Some were very flammable. They flagged the property, and they even filed some civil penalties because of what they found.
And then, has anyone heard from this owner? Do we know where he is?
Fire investigators apparently have gotten in contact with him. We've also reached out to him, but we haven't heard back from him just yet.
All right, Sierra, thank you so much being on top of this, getting us more info. We appreciate that. Now, when it comes to